at time. So you're accused of violating the conditions of your parole, specifically condition number 2. You failed to report after you were released from jail on August 31st, 2020, until you were arrested for a parole violation December 3rd, 2020. So how do you plead to violating condition number 2?
I plead guilty.
Okay, and then we have condition number 4 is first. You violated condition number 4 as evidenced by the fact you were arrested August 25th, 2020. Domestic abuse, battery, child endangerment, and false imprisonment. How do you plead?
May I clarify a question on that? Before I plead guilty, may I ask a question?
Yes.
Okay. Them charges were dismissed, and I actually pled guilty to disturbing the peace and criminal mischief.
Well, but you were arrested. You were arrested for domestic abuse, battery, and child endangerment.
Yes, ma'am.
So let's say, how do you plead to violating condition number 4?
I plead guilty.
And again, condition number 4, on December 3rd, 2020, you were arrested for parole violation. You admitted you would be positive for methamphetamines at the time of your arrest. On August 18, 2022, you pled guilty to criminal mischief and disturbing the peace, and you were sentenced to time served. So
Yes,
how do you do violating condition number 4?
I plead guilty.
Okay, so tell us what was going on. Did you expect to have counsel with you today?
Ma'am?
Do you expect to have counsel here with you today?
Well, I had spoke with Mr. Laval Solomon, and he had said he may or may not be here. He said he may log in case I needed him. He said, but he figured y'all more want to speak with me. And so I prepared a letter, just a quick letter.
Okay, so you had a different lawyer at your preliminary hearing, didn't you?
Mr. Amato Leha is the one that represented me, but he doesn't do parole stuff, so he referred me to Laval Solomon, and I spoke with him briefly and asked him what to expect on the parole hearing, and he kind of told me we had sent a bunch of the affidavits for my case, and we got all that sent together. And so I figured I would just read this letter and.
Okay, go ahead. Shoot.
Okay. Bear with me. I got to gather myself. My name is Jason Macon, and I'm writing this letter asking for the parole board committee to lift my parole hold and allow me to return to my family. My mother, who is 74 years old and currently sick with COVID for the second time. Desperately needs me home, along with my brother Lee Macon, who helps take care of my mother, my daughter Kayla, Loretto, and son Caden, who is the light of my life, also desperately needs her daddy home. In the younger years of my life, I made plenty of bad choices, but during the year that I've been in prison, there was a change in me. I had such huge plans when I got in prison, such as having a family, a home, and a business, which I achieved. However, I made some bad decisions, such as entering into a relationship with someone, and I allowed myself to be led down the wrong path. COVID-19 occurred and things got rough. The woman that I was with started seeing people behind my back and was using drugs. I worked extremely hard to hold on our relationship and all the things that I worked so hard for, but to no avail, everything came crashing down. A warrant had gotten issued for my arrest, and I was scared because I didn't know what to do. And for a short time before I got arrested, I also used drugs, meth. I was in a state of shock because I was being falsely accused of things and I had no idea what to do. And so I just let it get the best of me, so to say. Before all this occurred, I reported every month. I always paid my fees, maintained employment, and had a solid residence. I'm asking for the parole board committee to allow me the chance to prove myself as a success. Not only on parole, but in life as well. Yes, I made some bad choices, but honestly, I want to be a success and make my family proud of me. If given this chance, I give my word that I would do my absolute best in life to work hard toward achieving greatness. I have employment upon release, as well as a residence. I'll be staying with my mother, helping her with her needs. I do sincerely apologize for the wrongs that I have done. and for not surrendering myself on the parole warrant. I wasn't running. I honestly was just trying to get it figured out. Thank you sincerely for hearing me out, and I pray that this committee will show me a favor and send me home to my family once again to allow me a chance for myself.
All right, let me ask you some questions, and this is about arrest,
Yes, ma'am.
domestic abuse issue. I know you pled guilty to criminal mischief and disturbing the peace, but there's some pretty alarming information in the police report that I read. And it's all came about, I think you and the lady you referred to, the one you were in the relationship with, were going to buy a truck.
Well, we had already, it had gotten to a point, and she was seeing someone else, and she was buying.
Well, I'm not going there. I'm saying they were going to buy a truck, and the lady that your friend was supposed to buy the truck from
Yes, ma'am.
has indicated some conversation that you had with her. According to the report, you said that you were cooking methamphetamine at your residence and that you had killed 14 people. Later, you showed back up at that lady's residence, showed her pictures that you had took on your cell phone. Speak to that.
Well, the part about the kill, I don't even know where that even originated from. I had never heard that until I read it in the police report. I don't even know where that existed from. I've certainly never killed anybody, and I wasn't cooking meth. I was helping her get the truck going to sell to the woman I was with. And I honestly, and we did took pictures. Me and her were the pictures were her. We were laying down under the truck all breezy, and we just took the pictures. It was a mutual thing. I didn't think anything of it. And she didn't either. She was aware of it. And we later have a statement that my daughter had spoke with her that she said that she didn't actually call the police on me. And so that's what I'm.
All right. Let's hear from, I don't see any questions by my colleagues. I don't have any more. Let's hear from your daughter, Kayla. There you are.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, ma'am. I had written something down. My name is Kayla Loretto, and I wanted to say thank you for allowing me to participate today. I'm here to enlighten you all on the man my father is, and how important it is for him to come home so we can resume our lives together. He had made the decision to take the role as my father since I was 4 years old and has been the greatest father since. Over the past few years, I have stayed and helped my grandmother, Joyce Vaughn, with all the things she couldn't do due to her many health issues. As of now, she is battling COVID at the age of 74 for the second time. I currently reside in Marshall, Texas, and work 5 to 6 days a week, and I'm not able to constantly care for her. My uncle Lee Macon works as well and has trouble managing his and her health problems, along with maintaining his job. My father being incarcerated has not only changed his life, but it has affected ours tremendously. I am aware that he has made mistakes that he has apologized for, but abuse is not one of the mistakes that was made. After his release on August 27th, 2019, he has stayed true to God and had been on the road to success. We had a beautiful brick home with land, a work truck that was completely paid for, his car insurance paid 6 months ahead, and a new business that was booming. Sorry. By inviting Samantha Morton in our lives, we did not expect for everything to be taken away from us. Not only did she break down a business, a home for her children, and a family, but she had broke what my father had built by himself. I can't explain how important it is for him to be able to come home and spend his life with his family where he belongs. There's just Nothing more I can say. But we love and miss him dearly. And I thank you.
We appreciate hearing from you this morning. Thank you. Ms. Wise, did you have a
I
question?
did. I was, I read somewhere, I was trying to find it. It indicated that you had started selling and using drugs with somebody. I can't find the note. And you indicated that you were working. So speak to that time. Is that correct?
What are you indicating on the character letter?
Yes, sir.
That was a letter from Samantha Morton when she said things had gotten blown out of proportion.
Yeah.
Prosecutor, yes, I'm familiar with the letter. Yes, and that was actually from the woman that all this originated from. That was after we had split up and after the truck issue, right before, like I said in my statement, right before when the warrant got her issued. I did some drugs for a couple of months. I was just stressed out. I didn't know what to do, and I made a wrong decision. I mean, I knew better. I was working. I was putting the restaurants in. I had good.
So that was so. In her letter, that statement was correct. You and her had started selling and using drugs for a time period.
Well, I wasn't selling drugs. Her and the guy that she was with, Jonathan Castillo, was selling drugs. Now, I did use drugs, yes, ma'am, but I wasn't selling drugs. No, I was working.
You were using drugs with her. Were you using drugs with her?
At the very end of our relationship, yes, ma'am, I was for about a month and a half, 2 months.
Okay, but you just wasn't selling drugs with her.
No, ma'am, I did not. No, ma'am, I did not.
I just wanted to know about that because you were on supervision. You could have went to your officer.
You're right.
Let them know what was going on with you and got some help.
Yes, ma'am, you're right.
Could have got some help in the free world.
Yes, ma'am, you're right.
All right, that's all I wanted to say. I wanted some clarification. That's all I had.
So you were, your original offense is drug related.
Ma'am,
Your original offense, the reason you did some jail time the first time is because of drugs, right?
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So what were you doing on the street to maintain sobriety until you relapsed with the girl?
Well, I had started a business and I went to Christ Church every Sunday. Me and my kids, we got baptized. And I didn't do any treatment programs or anything. I just remained sober. I didn't drink, I didn't smoke, I didn't do drugs, I didn't do anything. And I worked nearly 7 days a week. We did go to church every day. I did go to Bible studies through church. I was very involved in church. And when I worked in Shreveport at Mom's house, I would actually drive from Shreveport back to Monroe to never miss a church service on Sunday. And that was for 18 months I was work released, plus the 10 months I was out. We never missed church. That was my sobriety plan. God was my sobriety plan, and he still is. We have, since I've been here, my mom has got my insurance papers and my insurance is current. And we spoke to some rehab places for me to get into some outpatient treatment so I can work and get continued treatment so that I don't relapse again. That's my plan.
Where is home?
My home is actually north of Shreveport and my old city where mom lived. We have property there paid for. And I stayed over here after I got a work release because I had business and I had acquired some through work release and I started my business. But that's where I want to go take care of my mom. That's going to be where home is. That's in Old City. The address is 127 Thomas Street in Old City.
Okay. Anything else you want to tell us before? Oh, I'm sorry. I think your mother wanted to say something. We'll allow her to speak.
I got a thing on the screen.
I apologize. Ms. Vaughn?
Hi. Thank
Hi.
you. Good morning, Jason. I love you, son.
Good morning, Mom. I love you too, sweetheart.
I just wanted to say Jason is not a bad boy. He was raised in church. His father had 5 children and we got married. So his children wouldn't go to foster care. His first wife didn't want him. Then I had Jason and his sister with him. They were very well raised. It's not Jason, it's the people Jason was with that all this occurred. And I supported him all the way and I still will. And I've called the rehab places and different ones. I've got 4 that I've called. And I'm just waiting on an answer for when they have room. If he gets out, he'll be able to go. I want him to be able to go in one and work also. He's a very good person. He's an excellent builder with wood. He can build anything. He has so many talents. I just hate to see him in there where he can't have a life of his own. And I want him home. I miss my boy bad. And I just pray to God that y'all would consider that and just let him come home with me and his family. And I'll do my best to keep him straight and help him in any way I can. I'm
Thank you.
74 and I just haven't got that much time left, but I'd like to be with my children the last few years. And I would appreciate it. And I promise, I don't think he's going to go back to anything bad, because he will go back into church with me. He will go to rehab, and I will follow him and be with him at all times. And I'll do my best. Anything happens, I will turn it in. I don't believe in drugs. I don't believe in alcohol. And I will do my best to keep everything the way it should be.
Yes,
I have
ma'am.
his,
We appreciate it. We appreciate it. You need to know though, it's not up to you to keep him straight. That's his.
that's
job.
his right. But I will help him in any way
Don't
I
take that
can.
on. Don't take that on. That's for him to do.
Right.
All right. Thank you so much for speaking with us. And Jason,
Yes, ma'am.
want to wrap it up for us real quick? Anything you want to say?
Yes, ma'am. First, I don't want to see this side of jail again. This 2 years have been rough. I worked so hard to achieve, and I made the mistakes I made. Did I abuse some at the no, I didn't. There's a lot of things in that report that were incorrect, and I know we didn't only get my whole case, but there was a lot of information that proved that a lot of that wasn't true. And now the stuff that I did plead guilty to, my attorney asked me, "You ever argued and raised hell?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Well, would you be willing to do that just to kind of get this out of the way?" I said, "Well, let me check with." So I spoke with Warden Goodwin, and he said that he felt I could be okay if I pled guilty to that. That's why I pled guilty to that. But as far as my future plan, I'd like to give the committee my word that I'm a person that wants to be successful. I worked for Warden Goodwin, and I went down and improved their project, and I built the parole officers, the desk in y'all's offices. I built those. I know Mr. Breland, and here I've been here. I worked over for the sheriff here for a little over a year. Been on maintenance for over a year and a half, and I've got a lot of work for them to do when I get out of here. And I just want success in my life. And when I get out of here, my plan is to immediately, not wait a week, but immediately get into an outpatient treatment program, get something involved in my life, get back in church, and get something going again so I can work and support my children and raise my family. Kay's been in foster care since I've been here. And I talk to my kids every single night. We say prayers every single night. And I just want to go home to my family and get this behind me and start over. That's all I have.
Okay, I think we're ready to vote. And listen, I'm going to go first. And I believe what you're saying. I do believe you need some help first. My vote would be to, in lieu of revocation, get you some substance abuse treatment prior to release, so that I know you get it. You say you want it, and we can do that for you. With a special added condition, once you complete that program, that you submit to random drug screens by your PO at your expense, and that you follow whatever aftercare program plan that program recommends to you. I don't know what that'll be. They'll tell you about meetings or whatever you need to do to develop a sobriety plan. That's what you need to stick to. That's my vote. I'm just one. Mr. Rinchay?
Mr. Nazi, my vote is the same, with the same conditions, for the same.
Mrs. Wise?
Mr. Jason, I wish we could make a statement, make a condition that you date nobody. You
Yes,
date
ma'am.
nobody. Just
I don't
raise
want
your
to be in a
kids,
relationship.
just don't do that. but you can put that condition on yourself.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
my vote is the same, in lieu of revocation, get the treatment. Afterwards, I concur with the special recommendations, and that you attend AA meetings at least 3 times a week at a minimum. Best
Now,
wishes to you.
I have one added condition, special condition upon release. You're to have absolutely no contact with Samantha Morton,
Yes, ma'am.
none.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, understand what just happened? We're gonna get you some treatment. Ms. Vaughn, we're gonna get him some treatment before he's released, and then he's gotta work the plan afterwards.
So let me ask you, is my parole being revoked or?
No, in lieu of revocation, sending you to treatment.
Okay. Now, let me ask you, my mom has spoke to a Pecan place here. Is Pecan?
It's gonna get a DOC facility. It's gonna be done by DOC, so. I think that concludes our business in Washington. No, we got one more. We got Mr. Tipton. So that's it, Mr. Macon. Good luck to you.
Now, what steps do I take from here? Is that something I need to initiate or is that? Okay. Thank you.
I wish we could make a condition not to date anyone. I think that would have been good advice, but I think he should have been revoked. Wait till you see his record. But first, I don't think you'll be surprised. He is locked back up. Now, this hearing took place 9/29/22, then the length of his program, and he got locked back up on 7/13/23. Thank you, Richard, for the information. I don't know if we'll have another revocation hearing, but this is what it was for. Obstruction of justice, violation of a protective order. Oh my gosh, are you surprised that he violated his protective order again? Parole violation, domestic abuse, aggravated assault, and domestic abuse, battery, and strangulation. Guys, this can't be possible. I mean, wasn't he crying how he had changed? And I mean, he never cooks meth, and he certainly never says that he's killed 14 people. He's just like, he turns on the faucets and manipulation, and the board took it hook, line, and sinker. Look at his record. It dates all the way back to 1993. Aggravated battery, disturbing the peace, resisting an officer. 94, resisting an officer. March 95, probation violation, improper phone language. I wonder what that is. 98, simple battery and a fugitive. 2000, being a fugitive again. Hey, at least he's consistent. 2002, simple battery. 2003, second degree battery, resisting an officer, careless operation, no driver's license on person. It's like, think about the pain and suffering he causes everyone he's around and the system. It's just it's disturbing. It's disturbing the peace. In 2004, and again an in-state fugitive. I mean, this guy, who would offer him any bond? Do you have to give bond as a bond officer? 2004. Now this is July. Second degree battery, state probation violation. 2005, false imprisonment. Offender armed with a dangerous weapon, aggravated assault, second degree battery. Let's go to 2008, aggravated assault and state fugitive again, and state probation violation. What a shock. And you just got to wonder, like, how long did he spend locked up for this charge in 05? How long was he out till he then, and that the board didn't revoke, shocking to me, right? 7/16/09, in-state fugitive. 2010, creation of operations of clandestine labs, but he would never do, cruelty to juveniles. What a shock. Manufacturing, distribution is Schedule 2, possession is Schedule 2. Then we get to our latest offense of 7/13/2023. And they're probably missing other things in here because, again, he was revoked and we didn't even get that on record, right? This is the latest charge, 7/13. What we just saw was September 9th, 2022. Yeah, that wasn't even. So this is not even everything. And it was obstruction of justice, violation of protective order, parole violation, domestic abuse, aggravated assault, domestic abuse, strangulation. So what a surprise. I don't, I don't I don't know what to say. You'd wonder if the parole board would have had his record, because I don't think you can release. And the funny thing is, you see him turn on his manipulation crying thing, and it was so cheesy and so like ridiculous. But it worked for him. It worked for him. Who I feel for here is the person with the protective order. They must just be like, are you kidding me? He's back out. And then you have this man strangling her, and it's like, what it must be like to be living in fear of the system that's not protecting you. I mean, we don't have the details. Maybe she, keeps going back to him, and it wasn't like he's stalking her or anything. But still, imagine if it was the situation where she's living in fear and she keeps finding him getting out. I gotta tell you, that's scary stuff. But you might not believe it if you didn't see it, and here it is. And with that, I'll let you go.
My name is Melvin Michael Edwin Tipton. My DOC number is 452446.
All right, Mr. Tipton, do you have a parole revocation questionnaire there with you?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that your signature at the bottom of that page? I think it's dated August 29th this year.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and so based on that, you're ready to proceed without appointed counsel.
Yes, ma'am.
So we're here for a revocation decision because you're accused of violating the conditions of your parole, specific condition number 4. I'm going to read it, the allegation, and then you'll enter a plea of guilty or not guilty, and then we'll talk about them after. So you are accused of violating condition number 4. You were arrested October 13, 2021 by the Washita Parish Sheriff's Office for theft of a motor vehicle, domestic abuse battery, simple criminal damage to property, domestic abuse, aggravated assault, and aggravated assault. You pled guilty to violation of protective orders on March 7, 2022. You were sentenced to serve 6 months in the parish jail. On that date, March 7, 2022, your other charges were dismissed. On August 5th, 2022, a motion to dismiss was filed for the theft of the motor vehicle. So how do you plead to violating condition number 4?
I was arrested, but I wasn't guilty. I mean, yeah, I pled guilty to violation of protective order.
Guilty
Yeah,
or not?
guilty.
You can explain it in a minute. Condition number 10, you're in arrears of $756 towards your supervision fee. How do you plead?
Guilty.
Okay. So your case was assigned to me. I'll take the lead on the interview. So you have been in jail almost a year,
Yes, ma'am.
11 months.
Yes, ma'am.
And so you were released on good time in July 18th of 2021
Yes, ma'am.
as a 7th felony offender. And then you were arrested about 3 months after that good time release for all of this stuff,
Yes, ma'am.
right?
It's 86 days.
And have been in jail ever since. So tell us about the violation of the protective order that you pled guilty to.
Okay, of course, we know I had the domestic charges. Well, I was not guilty of those. So I filed for fast and speedy trial. And the Friday before my trial date was on a Monday. The Friday before my trial date, the DA come up here and he pulled my phone records and stuff and saw that I had been talking to the victim. Well, I mean, she was my girlfriend. So we've been talking the whole time. So he's like, I can find you guilty of violation of a protective order. I was like, I'll plead guilty. I mean, I was guilty of it because the judge said I shouldn't talk to her, and that I couldn't talk to her, and I was talking to her. I was completely guilty of that. But all the domestics and all that, I wasn't guilty of that. So he's like, well, okay, well, I'll dismiss all this. Well, I hadn't been booked on the violation of a protective order. So that because I didn't even know about it until that day. So he brought me back to, he's like, well, you can plead guilty to this. Because I had filed for fast and speedy trial. I was set for trial that day and they didn't want to go to trial. So he's like, we're going to have to carry you back to the jail, book you on the violation of a protective order, and then you can come back next Monday and plead guilty. So I went back and I pled guilty. Well, the phone calls were consensual. Like the DA, she didn't.
So were you aware there was a protective order?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So you knew you were not supposed to be in contact with her. Now that's Vanessa Helfrich.
Yes, ma'am.
What's your relationship with her now?
I haven't talked to her since I pled guilty to violation of a protective order. I mean, I wish the best for her, but I mean, I can't talk to her. We have a protective order. That's why I'm in the position I'm in.
So you're say she was your girlfriend at the time and she was the victim of whatever may have happened
Yes, ma'am.
Prior to that. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am, she was. Oh, you said what happened prior to it?
Now, I'm just confused by all of this, but I understand, I did see that, that you did plead guilty to the violation of protective order. What about the theft of the vehicle?
I was completely not guilty of that, and not even in the least little bit. I mean, there wasn't even I filed for fast and speedy trial on that also, and fired my attorney so they couldn't slow the process down, and they dismissed it on that day. They dismissed it like I was supposed to go to trial on August 29th, and they dismissed it at the beginning of August.
I do see a motion was filed, but there's no indication that motion was accepted. So, but you're saying it was dismissed.
Yeah, I filed for fast and speedy trial. They dismissed the charge before I was able to go to trial on the theft of a motor vehicle.
So you tell us why you think we should not revoke you, considering I'm looking at your criminal history. I'm looking at the, the fact that you're a 7th felony offender and you were arrested with 3 months of good time. Why should we take a chance on you?
Well, I mean, over my past, I've had a problem with authority figures completely. Like I used to would get out of prison and wouldn't even go sign up on parole. And this last time that I was out, I actually went and signed up and talked to Miss Cassietta Brown, and I signed up for school. I was signed up to start Delta. I got my own house. I mean, I was actually doing pretty good. Finally, I signed up and I was doing good. Of course, I'm in arrears, but I just got a job before I wasn't out but 86 days.
So had you known Miss Helfrich prior to your release?
Yeah, we were talking. Me and her were talking from when I was in here the last time. And we were talking, and then I got out. And that was one of the biggest mistakes. That was one of the biggest mistakes I've ever made there.
That and what other criminal activity? So how long you been in jail now? Well, we said that. We said almost a year.
Almost a year.
Hmm.
I could have violated myself and already been out, but I didn't want to do that because I mean, I'm not guilty of them charges. I could have been. Ma'am?
Protective order.
Yes, I'm guilty. I'm completely guilty of that.
If you're successful today, what are your plans? Where would you live? How would you support yourself?
I have a job with JCL Industries. That's the job that I just got before I was arrested. He does James Conway Liner, his father owns a bunch of rental properties around here, and they specialty construction and stuff like that. I have a job with him, and I would go stay with my mom until I got me another residence. Of course, I wouldn't go back to my old residence, which is her residence.
Oh, okay. So you said you got you a house, but you meant you and her got a house together.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. When you had said earlier that you had got your
Yes,
place.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
You go back and stay with mother. Okay.
Yeah.
Work.
Until I can get my own place.
All right. That's all I ask.
Anything else you want to say to us?
No, ma'am, I would hope that y'all would continue me on parole and give me a chance to continue what I had going.
Right.
I would definitely not have no problem going to the parole office. Me and Miss Brown got past that.
Glad to hear that.
I've always had a
Um,
fear of authority figures. So, and when she called me and she talked to me at my mom's house, and she's like, Melvin, I just need you to come up here and talk to me, and I'll get you signed in, and everything will be okay. And then when I got up there, my hands were kind of sweating, and I went in and talked to her, and she made me comfortable. Of course, she's not my parole officer no more. Mr. Free is, but me and him, we're he's been out here a few times dealing with this, talking to me. So
So you're comfortable with him also?
yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Tipton, I'm ready to vote, and I don't know what to think about you, you know, but I hear what you're saying to me.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm willing to give you a chance.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You don't have contact with that woman, Vanessa?
She's in
Oh.
jail. I wouldn't contact her anyway, but
Yeah, you need to think about that. I would add, and my vote would be, do not revoke, return you to supervision. Put a requirement that you do maintain full-time employment,
yes, ma'am.
that you submit to regular, routine, random drug screens.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm just one thing. Mr. Roche?
Mr. Tipton,
Yes, sir.
I really don't know what to think about you. But I'm going to rely on the wisdom of Ms. Renaza and go along with her vote.
Yes, sir.
But Mr. Tipton, a seventh felon offender, if you get arrested again, you'll be in jail the rest of your life.
Yes, sir.
Madam Chairman.
Mr. Tipton, I'm hopeful for you. I really am. I'm hopeful.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
wish to put a condition that you leave girlfriends alone and just finish. But we can't, well, some people do that, but I'm gonna take a chance on you as well. Do not revoke, return you to supervision, be subject to random drug screening. And I want you to report weekly to probation parole for about 3 weeks.
Yes, ma'am.
Don't team with your officer. So y'all, you will know that they're not your enemy. Best wishes to you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you'll be returned to supervision. You got some work to do.
Yes,
luck.
ma'am.
That concludes our business there at Washita. So, Mr. Marchand, we're going to close out at 11:36. Thanks for accommodating us.
Thank you. You have a good day.
All right, you
too.
too. Good to see you.
What do you think? Do you think that he's done well? Sadly, I have to tell you that he's failed and jailed. He's locked back up. He lasted until May 5th of 2023. So this parole hearing was on 9/29/22, so not very long. And what's he locked back up for? The parole violation. You know, Mr. O'Shea said if you're arrested again, you're going to be in prison for life, and I certainly wonder if that's the case. I don't know why we don't see him for another parole revocation hearing, but maybe we will, or maybe he just revoked himself. He knew that he would have no chance, because when you're waiting for a revocation hearing, it doesn't work towards your time. And like he said, he waited there for over a year for the hearing, if I heard that correctly. It just says on the notes here that the sheriff arrested him. It doesn't say why. I don't have anything additional to share, but what's they say? Leopards don't change their spots. It's some people just need to get tired, and he wasn't tired yet. But it was interesting listening to him have his revocation hearing. It's he kind of understands the system. He needs to insist on a speedy trial, fire his attorney so that he can make that decision. He knows the game. They don't want to have a trial. They know that they can't do the speedy trial. His girlfriend's not going to testify against him. And then it seems like the DA was upset about it and said, well, I know that you were on the phone with her, and so you're going to get another charge. And that seems to be what happened. And he just pled to that. And it seems he understands how to play the system, but he doesn't understand how to stay out of trouble. But with that, so I'll let you go.
Classified as a third felony offender. Offenses: simple burglary, count 1, habitual offender, add penalty, simple burglary, count 2. Sentencing dates are August 1st, 2017, resentenced as habitual offender on count 1 on February 11th, 2019, sentenced to a total of 10 years. Parole date is December 2nd, 2019. Good time, February 1st, 2027. Full term, June 2nd, 2027. Is this information correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Mr. Marabella.
Thank you very much. Mr. Judy, my name is Tony Marabella. Your case was assigned to me, so I'll be the first panel member to question you today. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Judy, how old are you, sir?
I'm 37 years old, sir.
And how long have you been in prison this time?
Going on 5 years, sir.
All right. And you are serving a 10-year sentence, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
You were charged as a habitual offender on burglary charges?
Yes, sir, I was, sir.
Tell me a little bit about your educational background. How much you,
I've completed a GED at Nova Academy in St. Bernard Parish. And
when did you get that?
that was in 99 or 2000 year.
2000?
Yes, sir. I believe it's
We-
90 at the end of 99 or 2000 year.
Were you in prison at the time?
No, sir. No, that was
You-
a public school I have attended.
Tell me about your work history. What kind of work did you do when you're on the outside?
I'm a power driver by trade for the Army Corps of Engineers. I'm certified rigger. I do a lot of bridge work. We drive concrete, stick pile, pipe pile, beams, building bulkheads, doing all the footings for bridges, setting girders, and
How long have you been doing that?
I've been doing that since about a year after Katrina. I got into that outfit because before that, I did a lot of roofing and sheet metal work, and I was a sheet metal fabricator with my uncle, who's my mama's brother, my family. And we did a lot of roofing in New Orleans, every type of roof you can think of. And then after Katrina, the money was still good, but I mean, the prices started going down with all the.
Well, let me slow you down just a little bit. It sounds like what you're telling me is that you've always been a hard worker,
Yes, sir.
always had a job.
Yes, sir.
Why so much crime?
Because I was addicted to drugs, sir. I had a
Well,
bad addiction with drugs, and that's
Tell
what
me about your drug addiction. When did you start using drugs?
I started using drugs at a young age, 14 years old, 15 years old,
Would you start using?
marijuana,
And then progress to what?
do anything and everything at one point in time. Prescription pills, weed, cocaine. I've done heroin, and it just progressed worse and worse throughout my addiction, until I've actually got into this setting right here on this incarceration. Is when
All
it
right, well,
really-
let's talk a little bit about prior to you coming to prison, okay?
Yes, sir.
How often were you doing drugs? Are you doing drugs every day?
Every day. Yes, sir.
How were you able to work?
I was functioning through it at one point in time, and then it got out of hand. It got so bad out of hand as to where I wasn't showing up for work sometime, coming in late, leaving early, and
All right, it sounds to me like, and you were very proud of the fact that you got your GED while you were out of prison, not in prison. And that's a wonderful thing, and I commend you for that. Did
Thank
you
you.
ever seek treatment outside of prison for your
No.
drug addiction?
Yes, sir. I was in Truth 180 in St. Tammany Parish, Covington.
What is that called?
Truth 180.
What is that?
It's a substance abuse treatment program.
Okay, how long were you in that program?
I did approximately about almost 24 months, approximately 2 years in that program.
Okay, was it outpatient?
Yes, sir.
And did you go to meetings regularly?
I did meetings regularly. Yes, sir, I do. And
When
I
was that about?
St. Tammany Parish at the Serenity by the lake.
No,
in
no,
Mandan.
when?
2012, 13, 14, 15.
Okay,
Um,
and did you stay sober for a while?
yes, I did, sir.
How long?
I was sober for over 2 years at one point in time.
And what happened?
I was around the wrong people and not watching and stopped going to meetings and stopped applying myself to what I should have been doing. And I
Okay,
got
so
involved.
it's fair to say that in the 24 months you were in that program, you learned some tools to be able to stay off drugs?
Yes, sir.
And what were those tools?
People, places, and things is the first thing. The first thing is not to put
No,
any,
that's triggers. What were your tools to stay off drugs?
not to put the first drink or drug into my body is the first step. And then admitting that I had a problem with myself, you know. And then I had to turn my will and my life over to the care of God as I understood him.
Those were basically the 12 steps. You learned that in that 24-month program.
Yes, sir.
You
Yes.
followed them for a while and you stayed sober.
Yes, sir, I did.
What happened?
I fell off. I stopped going to meetings, and I like got involved with the wrong people in that, and I fell off, and it slowly progressed back into my addiction because I didn't stay on top of what I was supposed to be doing and should have been doing.
Okay, well, tell me what you've learned since you've been in prison that's gonna make me believe you've changed.
Since I've been in prisons, I've actually did substance abuse program in here, Living in Balance. I've
Okay.
also completed the AA and NA 12-step program in incarceration in prison.
Okay, but you had that previously.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
keep
But
going.
I did it again. I've also did, I got a certificate for 315 hours of pipe fitting. I did 100 hours in pre-release. All of those classes, my personal development, problem solving, and decision making. I got an anger management class, values and clarification, goal settings.
Well, I hear all the classes you took.
Yes, sir.
You know, sometimes people can sit in a class and not learn a thing. My
Yes, sir.
question to you is not what classes you take or what kind of pieces of paper you have. How are you going to convince me that you're not going to go back and do the same thing you did after you were in a good 24-month program that kept you sober for a while?
Because I've turned my life over to God, and I
Well,
asked
didn't you
God.
tell me you understood and learned that back when you did the 24 months in St. Tammany Parish?
Yes, sir, I did, and I relapsed after that. Yes.
Well, relapse is a part of the disease. So tell me how you're going to make sure you don't relapse again.
I'm gonna go to at least 3 AA meetings a week, at least bare minimum. I'm gonna get involved in with a church community and try to get into a substance abuse program that they offer or anybody can offer me.
When, Mr. Judy, did this change take place in you since you've been in prison?
Over a year now, sir. It's been well over about 14 months ago. I just had enough, and I begged and cried for Lord to change my life, and He knew I really meant it deep down in the core of my heart. And right then and there, and when I woke up from praying, and I went to sleep, and I woke up, He delivered me from my drug addiction, and I never had to taste the herbs or anything forever again because it's ruined so much in my life, and I heard so many people.
Mr. Judy, you're not telling me you're cured.
Yes, sir.
You're
I'm
telling
very
me you're cured?
Yes, sir. I'm not saying I'm cured because it's always going to be a problem there, but I have the tools I need now to get done what I need to do. So I don't.
Mr. Judy, you had the tools 6 years ago. You didn't use them. Now, I appreciate what you've done in the last few months. You've completed Living in Balance. You've completed some AA classes. You're right. You've done that very recently. Let's talk about what you've done while you've been in prison this last 5 years. You've had 8 write-ups. You've had some significant write-ups. You've been caught with contraband. Tell me what happened in, I think it was July the 11th of 2018. You got transferred. You have a disciplinary issue on your record. What happened back then? Tell me about your write-ups.
Yes, sir. On July 11th, 2018, I was ruled up for, I believe a contraband. That was a contraband and intoxication. Yes, sir.
Drugs still.
Yes, sir. It was. Yes.
Okay. When was that?
That was in 2018, right there. In Angola. Yes, sir.
What did you get in September of 2020? Contraband. What was the contraband there?
Yes, sir. It was marijuana. Yes, sir.
2020? Little over a year ago? You still doing marijuana in prison?
Yeah, but I did. I had a relapse. Yes, sir. I did. But since then, I've got myself. I got all these programs. I'm a Class A trustee here. I work on maintenance. To keep myself occupied. I know I had to keep my mind occupied and disinvolve myself from around certain people in this setting right here and anywhere really. And to continue going to my meetings, I go once a week when they offer them here to the AA meetings, as well as all of my other life skill classes. And that's been helping me, and it's been doing what it's supposed to be doing for me. I've been sober and I've been clean, and I have a new mindset, sir. And I don't want to use that again.
You've been sober now for a year plus.
Yes, sir.
You took a 24-month program 4 years ago. You were sober for 2 years and you relapsed. You're in a prison environment. You're in an environment where you can easily do good because they were watching you every day.
Yes.
Yet you've had all of these write-ups. But now all of a sudden you've turned a corner. And I should just accept that?
I did turn a corner, sir, in my life. I just got tired of living like that. And
You've never felt that way before? You didn't feel that way when you got out of that 24-month program?
Yes, I did feel that way. Yes, sir.
Mr. Judy, the reason I'm saying that is because, you said a minute ago, I'm cured now. All of a sudden, I've seen the light. That's BS. Drug addicts don't ever see the light. They have to constantly fight.
Yes, sir.
And for you to tell me, you ain't got to worry about me, I ain't going to do it no more. That's the same kind of story we hear from drug addicts all the time. We have to go on what your history is. I appreciate the fact that the last year you've done some good things, and that is a good thing. And I think you've turned the corner, I hope, and I think you're in the right direction. So that's all the questions I have at this point, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, we'll hear from Miss Marie now.
Hi, I'm Damon's mother. Look, I've been in constant contact with Damon since he went to prison to Angola. This year, since he's been transferred to Allen Correctional Center, I have heard and felt the change in him. He didn't have that much of a will maybe before, but he knows now. The time that he's done in Angola with the people he had to live with for a simple burglary, I think has finally struck him in the head. He does not want to come back to prison. When we talk now, he talks a lot about, not about himself, about what he can do, what he will do for the family and for himself, but mostly for the family to help us because he's sorry for what he did to us. He understands what he did. He understands. I know he does. He's sorry. He can't take it back. He can't change it. But I think he has learned a lesson. I feel it. I know it. I really think he deserves a chance, just an opportunity to prove it. He's fighting hard.
All right, thank you, Miss Marie. Thank you. Now we'll hear from Miss Amanda.
You're on mute, ma'am. Ms.
I'm here.
Acosta, there you go.
Okay, we got you.
I'm sorry about that. Yes, I am the defendant. I'm also Damon's older sister. And I have been in constant contact with Damon since he has been incarcerated, and through email and telephone calls and the small visitation that we was to have before COVID night. I believe that Damon really is a changed person in his life. He made a mistake. I really truly believe that he's changed. I need him home to help me with our sick father. I believe that he deserves another chance. I really, truly, deep down inside, believe that he really is sorry for his mistake that he's made. He has a great family support system, work for a good job, set up, housing. He has a great support system. And as his older sister, I'm gonna be there right there by his side to support him.
All right, thank you. All right, thank you. Damon, would you like to make a statement on your behalf?
Yes, sir, I would.
Go ahead.
First off, I'd like to tell you, Mama, that I love you and I'm sorry for you raising me better than what I was doing. All right. And I come to that realization. All right. And I'm sorry for putting y'all all through this. All right. And I was wrong for that. And I deeply and truly believe in my heart that that will never happen again, because I do have the tools and the right mindset and the right mind frame and the wisdom to do what I got to do to be successful in life, not become, to be successful in life, to follow this path that I'm on, because it's not the same path that I was on out there. All right. And I hope that you can find it in your heart to forgive me and accept my apology for not holding up to the end of the sun that you raised me to be at one time. Okay. And I'm sorry. I love you. Okay. And Amanda, sis, I'm sorry for stealing your weed eater and selling it for drugs and doing that. I was wrong for that, and it wasn't right. It ain't right to take nothing that ain't yours. But you know what? I was so bad on the drugs, it didn't matter to me at the time, but it matters to me now, and it always will matter to me. And I'm sorry for that, sis. You're gonna never ever have to worry about that again, because it'll never be that again. Okay? No matter what. And I love y'all. All right. And I want to be there with y'all and support y'all and help y'all, take care of y'all and love y'all and make memories to cherish and good memories to remember us by, not bad ones, like before. That's stupid, and I'm sorry, y'all. I love y'all. That's all I got.
All right, thank you. Good. And I'm prepared to vote.
Yes.
Mr. Marabella.
Mr. Judy, it sounds like you're working hard. In the last year, you have taken some good programs, but you've taken good programs in the past. You tell me you've changed. You tell me you've learned a lot. It bothers me anytime a drug addict speaks in absolutes. I'm never going to do this. I'm never going to do that. I guarantee you I won't do that. That's impossible to guarantee, and never. Talk is easy. Walking the walk is the difficult part.
Yes, sir.
I'm looking at your past history. Since 2003, you've had arrests for disturbing the peace, unauthorized entry of a dwelling, you're a habitual offender, drug charges, all of those things after you did significant work in drug rehabilitation. You were sober for a while. You fell back into the same trap. It concerns me deeply that you keep saying, I'm cured, I'm never going to go back and do that again. Yet you've been in prison for 5 years. And since 2018, May of 2018, you have a total of 14 rules violations, only 8 write-ups, but 14 rules violations. Aggravated disobedience, contraband, intoxication, aggravated work offenses, defiance, fighting, theft in unauthorized areas. You have turned a little bit of a corner, and I appreciate that. I hope you continue to work that hard. I just don't think you're ready, and I'm not prepared to vote to let you out early right now. But if you keep up your work, perhaps the next time you come back, and if I'm still on this panel, I might change my mind. But today my vote is to deny.
Ms. Wise?
Mr. Julie, I also noticed in your record, I'm gonna state this before I enter my vote, that you were put in the rehab workforce development program when you first got locked up, weren't you?
Yes, ma'am.
What happened to that? Why didn't you take advantage of that?
Because I still was in the same mind frame that I was in when I was put in incarceration. I was still in that same mind frame.
But
I
thank
wasn't
you.
in that mind frame.
Hey, that's what I thought, but I'm glad to hear you say that out loud. That's good.
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
good. I just wanted to point that out to show how you are turning the corner, and you just keep it up, regardless of what happens today.
Yes,
But
ma'am.
my vote is the same. I vote to deny because of your criminal history. I think you need more programs. I think you need a long-term substance abuse program. I think you could benefit from that. You already know you can work. And I just appreciate how you apologize to your victim. I really appreciate that. But I believe that when you get out this time, you won't be back. But my vote is to deny today for the reasons already been stated on the record.
All right, 2 votes to deny your parole. I'm also going to vote to deny your parole. The disciplines are really a problem for me. There's no question about that. You've got to fix that and correct that if you're going to be successful on the outside. But look, if you're heading the right direction, you're doing the right thing. So 3 votes to deny your parole. Your parole's been denied today. Good luck to you.
Yes, sir. When
So this hearing took place 12/7/2021, and we're going to fast forward to his next hearing, which is June 20th, 2020. But before we do that, I just want to unpack that a little bit or digest it with you. It's interesting because at the beginning of the hearing, for me, I thought, man, this guy is doing great. Like, he's saying all the right things. I mean, he had me hook, line, and sinker. And Mr. Mirabella just wasn't eating what he was dishing up. And what is going on here? I thought like Mr. Mirabella would be like, whoa, hallelujah. But it's he had information that we didn't, and about all the write-ups and about and really he was just saying everything that he thought that Mr. Mirabella wanted to hear, up until the point, of course, when he said one day he just woke up and saw God. And it's like, dude, like, come on, man, you were doing so great trying to pull the addict theme over there. I guess he still has a little bit more learning to do on how to manipulate an interview, or it's possible previous people that's worked on, I don't know. But Mr. Mirabella was having absolutely none of it. And it's interesting because as time goes on, when I watch more of these hearings, it's like I think I would have bought into what he was feeding as well. And then you start to learn what to look out for. And it's not to say that he's a bad guy. It's just that he's an addict and he's struggling, with that addiction. And you can kind of get a sense that he's not ready yet. He's just trying to say the right things. Let's see if the interview coming up will be any different. But man, it was when he said the part about, I think, stealing his sister's weed whacker and selling it. I thought he said weed. I thought he said he stole his sister's weed and sold it for drugs. And I was like, oh man, that's a first. But yeah, I mean, they eventually, it seems to be like a lot of minor crimes. There's a lot of on this issue. He's arrested here and arrested again and arrested again. And, they said, you know what, we'll give you a 10-year sentence. He had parole eligibility after 5. They denied him. And now he's going to get parole opportunity, I guess, after serving almost his entire sentence, but 7 years. Well, let's see if they grant it, or I'm more curious. I just expect they will grant it. I'm more curious to see how he tunes his interview style. Let's go.
Mr. Judy, this is you were here, you appeared before parole board in 2021, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So you're familiar with the process, so we'll just jump right in. So for the record, classified as a third felony offender, you're currently serving a 10-year sentence for simple burglary and as a habitual offender for simple burglary. Two separate docket, 2 counts. Your parole eligibility date was December 2nd, 2019, and you have a good time date, which is June 6th of 2026. Does that sound accurate?
Yes, ma'am.
And why, do you remember why you were denied in 2021?
It was because of my disciplinary conduct record.
And I see where, let's see, you had your last one at that time, I believe, was in 2020.
Yes, ma'am.
That's still your last write-up?
Yes, ma'am.
No write-up since then?
No, no, ma'am.
That was, that was a contraband and you lost 60 days. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. I then received those 60 days back for no disciplinary.
I do see that. You did have all 60 days restored, so that's great. So tell us what have you been doing since that hearing? Have you been, I see you have lots of skills that you've been, excuse me, you have 315 hours for pipe fitting.
Yes, ma'am.
You have done some on-the-job training for HVAC.
Yes, ma'am.
Some electrician, so you've got all kind of different skill sets.
Yes, ma'am. I'm also a Class A trustee and do a lot of work around the prison.
Well, what's your favorite out of all the things I mentioned? Pipe fitting, air conditioning, refrigeration, electrician. What's your favorite?
Probably pipe fitting. I like doing that.
Will you get to do any of that around the prison?
Oh, we actually did. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, good. How long have you been a Class A trustee?
Oh, for close to 3 years now.
And how long have you been in jail?
Since 2017, August 1st, 2017.
Almost 6 years, almost.
6 years, yes, ma'am, and I earned a year of good time as well.
I do see that. Yes, 440 days maxed out on.
Yes, ma'am.
So tell us about your, do you have your GED?
Yes,
Or high
ma'am,
school?
I did get my diploma. Yes, ma'am.
Good. When did you get that?
Just recently, we graduate this Thursday.
Oh, this week. Oh,
Yes,
well, then
yes, ma'am.
congratulations. I know you're proud of that. You should be.
Thank you.
What is your job? What is your job there at the facility?
I'm a tractor operator, and I run a little mini excavator. I do painting. I do really whatever they ask me to do, but I run the equipment for the most part.
Tell us about, I'm assuming, and it looks like that your offenses were drug related.
Yes, ma'am. In a way, yes, ma'am.
What was the drug of choice for you?
Just weed, smoking marijuana. I was, snorted cocaine, a couple, ecstasy, things of that sort.
Alcohol? Also?
No, ma'am, no alcohol.
Alcohol. So what kind of drug education or treatment classes have you taken advantage of?
I got into a self-help program, the NA and AA organization, and I worked the 12 steps a few times. I still continue to work the steps. I got me a sponsor that I actually work the steps with. I did a living in balance phase 1 and a living in balance phase 2, which is a drug treatment program that teaches you your triggers and, about people, places, and things and that sort, to stay away from certain types of individuals, certain scenarios and different environments,
Where'd you do those programs?
Here at Allen Correctional.
You didn't do well in the Orleans, in the reentry program. You were at Angola for a little while.
Yes, ma'am. That was when I first got to prison, and I was in the wrong mindset. So I come to Jesus meeting with me and Jesus, and I was blessed by the Holy Spirit and I got baptized. And ever since then, I've turned my life around and I've been doing what I'm supposed to do and just building myself up and looking forward in life.
That happened since you've been there in Allen?
Yes, ma'am. The moment I got shipped from Angola, I changed all my ways and I didn't want to live like that anymore. I just didn't want to live how I was living, so I changed my ways.
What happened with that contraband write-up?
That was when I was in Angola. Yes, ma'am. I was
Were
ma'am.
you? And look, it says in 2020 you were there. That's right. You got there at 2021. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So tell us about if you were successful. Well, it looks like victims in this case and is your own family. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am. That was my sister.
We have your mother here who'll be speaking on your behalf. I recognize her earlier, but she's going to be talking about you. But your family is unopposed to an early release for you. What would be your transition plans should you be successful tonight?
Well, I got a residence to go to. I'm gonna check in with probation and parole, and then I plan to get in with the AA organization out there. That's down the street from my house. They got an AA meeting that meets every day of the week, actually, right down the street from my house. I also have the Church of the King that I'm gonna go to and join that organization as well.
Where is your house? You say right down the street from your house. Where is it?
Covington, Louisiana.
Covington. Who lives there?
My mother owns the house, but I will be the only one living there until my son comes home this October. He's discharging from the military.
So your son will be living with you?
Yes, ma'am. He's gonna be there until he gets his house built. Yes, ma'am.
So what about, okay, so you're gonna connect with AA, that's your sobriety plan?
Yes, ma'am.
What about work?
I'm a power driver by trade and run heavy machinery, and they have plenty of work waiting for me. Through the Army Corps of Engineers, we do subcontracting jobs through the Army Corps of Engineers.
Who does subcontracting jobs?
Philip Blanchard is my supervisor. It's a private owned construction company.
What's the name of it?
Shapers and Whittle.
Shapers and Whittle?
Shapers and Whittle, yes, ma'am. It's off of Engineers Road, New Orleans.
And you've communicated with them?
Yes, ma'am. I've contacted the supervisor. I've worked for the company before, and they love me because I did a lot of good production.
Since you've been on supervision, they know your current status as a felon, convicted felon?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
What's your plan to not come back to prison?
To never live that type of lifestyle ever again. I'm gonna stay family oriented. And I'm gonna keep myself distanced from people that's not living right. I have no interest in that whatsoever anymore. This was detrimental to me and my family. So I have no intentions of ever getting involved with that type of community or people ever again.
Well, you say it was detrimental to your family, and I agree, but I don't know that it was detrimental to you because you've grown and changed.
Yes, ma'am, I did. I changed for the better. Yes, ma'am.
It was probably a blessing to you.
In a way it was. Yes, it was.
Okay, I don't have any other questions. Let me ask Warden Thompson, is there anything you can add about Mr. Judy?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I met Brother Judy many years ago when I was assistant warden at Gola. And I can honestly say he was in a dark place at that particular time. You can see by his record, he was utilizing a lot of drugs, et cetera, et cetera. And I mean, he wasn't doing well at all. A little bit later on, I ended up transferring here and not knowing that Judy was here. And when I first seen him, I seen him outside the perimeter area on a tractor. And he's been doing exceptionally well ever since day one when I first seen him. He's done a lot for the facility. He works very hard. He stays out of trouble. He applies himself well, and I'm very proud of him.
All right, thank you, sir. Any other questions? So let's hear from Miss Marie Blanchard, your mother, ma'am. We'd like to hear what you have to say.
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, I just want to, first off, I want to say congratulations to Damon for getting his GED. And we're very proud of him. And, you know, we're a small family. We're a good family, and we support Damon 100%. We're willing to give him that second chance and all the support he needs to achieve what he needs to in life to be successful. He's got a comfortable home to come to. You know, he's had a couple of job offers from people, friends of people outside, friends of the family. They're willing to give him a chance. You know, and we just would like to see Damon have a second chance. That's pretty much all I have to say.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Damon, anything you want to say to us before we vote?
Yes, ma'am. I wanted to thank you for this opportunity. And that I'm sorry for what I did, and I really did change my ways. And I have nothing but the utmost respect for people and my family and for doing the next right thing in life, even when nobody's looking.
All right. All right, well, I'll be voting first. I enjoyed talking to you today. I appreciate your enthusiasm, and I agree with your mother. We're all very proud of you for your GED and accept that with pride, that diploma with pride on Thursday. My vote today is to grant your parole based on the information provided by the warden, and I think you have a good plan in place. And I think your son coming home is probably a pretty good inspiration for you to do well. I would add a special condition that you do attend at least a minimum of 2 AA meetings a week for the duration of your supervision, and that you must submit to random drug screens by your PA. That's my vote. Wise.
Damien, I am impressed too with what you had to say today with your record. You have low needs, low risk. I concur with my colleague. My vote is to grant, but it's after graduation on Thursday. I want you to stay and soak all that in. That is my vote.
Yes.
My vote is the same, Judy. You have done quite well. All right, you've been granted parole. Good luck to you. Hey, look, we don't want to see you again unless it's like that. Wow.
Yes, ma'am.
Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you all. Yes, sir.
Good luck.
Okay, so this was June. We haven't seen him back. So I don't have like a revocation hearing or an arrest update. Actually, I Googled his name. I don't see anything there. So hopefully for the past 7 months, he has stayed out of trouble. He does seem to have a ton of skills. Like he's one of those guys, and I think everyone has that friend who can just do anything, with their hands. They watch a YouTube video on how to fix a certain kind of engine, and they're fixing that engine. And it's such a shame when someone wastes that kind of skill. But I'm rooting for him. Although I do want to point out that the whole GED thing is, I guess he's just following the motions and doing what they want him to do regardless, which is what you kind of have to do in prison. Because do you remember in the last hearing, he said that he already had his GED? Let's go take a blast to the past.
How much you,
I've completed a GED at Nova Academy in St. Bernard Parish. And
when did you get that?
that was in 99 or 2000 year.
2000?
Yes, sir. I believe it was 90 at the end of 99 or 2000 year.
Were you in prison at the time?
No, sir. No, that was a public school I have attended.
Tell me about
So, I mean, I guess he's getting a second GED. You know, and give him all the power anyways. I mean, hey, I'll tell you, if I had to take a GED 23 years after, I mean, even now I'd probably fail. I don't, I shouldn't say I'd probably fail. I would fail. I'm learning challenge. So I know I would fail, but man, it's, I think a lot of us probably would fail because it's all about memorization anyways. It's like, you know, it's something you have to study for. So good for him. He's putting in all the work. I mean, some people, I'm rooting for him. You know, addiction is a painful thing. He's gone through it, and just hopefully we really don't see him again. I think it's that simple. And if we do, sadly, we will post it. It's their playlist that we say return of playlist. It's where we see someone again, and parole revocation playlists. But hopefully we don't. And you know, it's Richard put some things up there. He had an old Facebook page that said F the police on it. I'm guessing it's an old page. The pictures are like super outdated. So, but you know, but when I first saw that, I was like, oof, that's not a, but then going through the hearings, you realize that it's the pictures are so old. Anyways, with that, I'll let you go.